Our final presenter in the Working Innovator category is, can you please welcome to the stage, Ms. Jessica Vovers. So everyone, put your hands together for Jessica.
So when you saw that I'm in the working category, you may have wondered what was going on. As a PhD candidate and perpetual student, I've managed to evade the workplace for almost a decade now. But it's something I'll soon have to face. I'm studying biochemical engineering and looking at the ways that we can build sustainable pharmaceutical industries using bio-based solvents. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity, not just because I get to work in the sustainability space, but because I get to work with a diverse group of people. And I know that others, even at my university, are not as lucky. And as you go more senior, it becomes more problematic. So I've pursued my passion for this, diversity in science, engineering, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, as Women in Science and Engineering President in 2014 and 2016. And I'm also a mentor for young women, and I work with Science Gallery Melbourne, where we aim to inspire young minds with an intersection of art and science. And it's not because I'm a queer, half-Asian woman in engineering that I'm so concerned by the statistics, but because I truly believe it does a disservice to STEM and to society. I've been following this discussion for a while now, and I see that we tend to focus on the why and what the problems are. And I think that what we need to innovate in this space is essentially a list of actions that we can take from, and a fundamental shift in responsibility. Lack of diversity in STEM is not a problem for diverse people. It is a problem for all of us. And I'm not just talking about women in STEM. I'm talking about all genders, abilities, cultural backgrounds, sexualities, those with mental health problems, age, a whole range of identity factors. And through STEM, we're facing some of the most critical challenges in society today, and not just finding the solutions, but also defining what those problems are and how we align research and problem solving. And diversity of participation can allow us to reduce potential bias and foster creative thinking from different perspectives. By improving diversity, we can enable innovation. So we know that diverse teams perform better. And as it is, we have a massive underutilization of our workforce when 75% of the fastest growing jobs are STEM jobs. So the question becomes, how can we increase representation in STEM and foster a more inclusive world? So some of the key barriers facing underrepresented minorities include harassment, discrimination with deep roots in history resulting in conscious and unconscious bias, stereotyping, and accessibility. And innovation is about upheaval. So the change that we need here is an understanding that these problems don't come from within underrepresented minorities. These are things that we can all change together. So I've just released this piece to serve as a launchpad where you can find ways that you can innovate in your workplace for diversity. These are things that we can do, and perhaps not all will apply to you, but by taking on one or two, or just understanding the goal behind them, perhaps we can all make small changes that can add up to something much bigger. So ultimately, what we need is to provide and create opportunities and spaces where diversity can flourish. And experiences of harassment, whether they be sexual or not, are critical to this discussion. It comes down to basic safety, and no matter what other efforts you might make, harassment and discrimination undermine all these, and if people are not safe, they will leave. So if something happened to you or a colleague, where or who would you go to? And would you feel comfortable going to them? The channels need to be as clear and as accessible as possible, with multiple reporting routes and policies that are enforced and not just empty threats allowing perpetrators to stay in the system. Is your organization doing enough? Are you doing enough? After this, there are easy wins and there are harder ones, and eventually what we need is an inherent cultural shift, creating spaces that encourage diversity. And I know that that can sound so abstract, so let me give you some specific things that we can do to make that happen. It starts in your everyday life Be an ally. This means listening to the experiences of others, educating yourself, and providing support where you can. And in the workplace, you have particularly if you have a position of privilege, you have an opportunity to call out inappropriate language and actions. You can normalize vulnerability by sharing your failures. And this creates a safe space where discussions about these issues can occur and not remain hidden. You can raise awareness for problematic and hostile behavior and, not let people get away with things like harmless jokes that might seem fine, but, really signal to those that hold prejudices that it's okay to discriminate against marginalized people. So the next big shift that we need is for career structures that allow for flexibility. And things like job sharing and part-time work, HR policies to return to work, adequate parental leave people won't judge you for taking, and provisions for childcare. And it's not just about families, but about people with chronic health conditions, for example. And so to achieve equity in the workplace, we need equity in domestic responsibilities as well, which is why I'm glad we've heard from Ting today. A true meritocracy can't exist while systemic bias exists, and if you want to build diverse teams, you're going to have to do that somehow. Look at the language you use, the places where you advertise, and if you can, offer sponsorship and mentoring, and close the wage gaps. So what I would love is for you to show your support for a diverse future by going online and sharing this piece. We need to commit and action this and not just talk about it. Please, take from it what you will, share it with others, think in this context, start conversations everywhere, and take action. We need to make a real impact. We've been laying out the foundations for so long, so let's build it together. Thanks.
Give it up for Jessica, everyone. Stay on stage, Jessica. And I'd like to invite Ting and David to come back on stage.
To community, and you're doing